Hey guys, Lindsay here. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be 2 looks using the Peachy Queen 90s Baby palette. So I did one look already when I did my kind of first impressions on this palette. I think it was about a week and a half ago at this point. I'll link it. But yeah, so this video is going to be 2 different looks. This is obviously one of them. I'm pretty ssure I've used like all of the shadows at this point. I love these shadows. They're so much fun and bright and colorful. You definitely get really fun summery vibes with this palette. Definitely love it. So I've got 2 really fun, colorful looks to show you in this video, but I also have a little giveaway as well. So Peachy Queen recently put me on their PR list, and I know she had sent me a couple of items before, but I didn't know if I was going to be getting the 90s Baby palette, and I quite frankly don't like to assume that indie brands are going to send me products even if they've sent me stuff previously, because you know, they're indie brands. They're not these big giant companies that have all this money for PR, so I don't like to expect it, and I love just supporting these brands regardless. So as soon as this went on pre-sale, I ordered it. I'm really happy that I did, but she was super sweet and ended up sending me a palette anyways, so I figured since I have this completely untouched, unopened 90s Baby palette, I would do like a little giveaway in this video. So I'm going to give away this palette to one of you guys. All you have to do is comment down below and tell me like your favorite thing about the 90s. That works. Whatever you want to do. Tell me your favorite thing about the 90s or about this palette, whichever works, and that will enter you to win this palette. I'll just randomly pick a person. Let's see, I'll leave it open for a week. So whenever this video posts, which I think is going to be on Wednesday, which would mean the following Wednesday at midnight Central Standard, I will close it and I will randomly pick a winner and I will contact that person. I don't care if you guys want to leave your Instagram or email in the comments, you can. I know sometimes that makes people feel uncomfortable. So if that's the case, if you don't want to leave either of those types of contacts there, I'll just comment on your comment. If you happen to be the person that I randomly select, I'm probably just going to number them all and put them in a randomizer, which is what I've done a lot in the past, and it works out just fine. I'll go ahead and let this be open to anybody, international or domestic, since it is just a palette and I didn't actually have to pay for it. I got it for free basically, so I don't mind paying a little more in shipping if I have to ship it internationally. I don't know anything about any kind of customs or fees or anything like that, so that would be on you, but I can definitely handle the shipping to send it to you if it happens to be somebody internationally that wins. And this might give somebody an opportunity to win it if maybe they're, you know, they don't have the money to pay for shipping costs from an indie brand, because sometimes it can be kind of high coming from US to international. So open to anybody. All you gotta do is leave a comment down below with your favorite thing about the 90s or whatever you want and a way for me to contact you, unless you just want me to comment on your comment. So that's it. Super simple, very easy little giveaway, and a great way to share the love of this beautiful, bright, colorful palette. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to cover in the beginning here. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first look. All right, so look number 1 is going to be a fairly simple look. I already have my lids primed with my MAC paint pot, and I'm gonna jump straight into the hot pink ring pop shade. And I'm using my kind of small detailed fluffy blending brush. I'm using this just to kind of pack the color onto the lid first. I'm just laying the color down. And then once it's down, I'm going to start working it back and forth to blend that color in, really making sure that it's nice and vibrant right in that crease area. And then I'm going to switch over to a fluffy brush. I didn't add any more product here. I'm just taking what's already on the lid basically and blending it upwards as best as I can, just to really kind of diffuse that color out. Also making sure it kind of tapers out a bit on the outer portion of the eye, because I am going to do it kind of like a winged out look. And then I did add a little bit of that color to the outer portion of the lid area. And again, just blending and blending and blending. We're sticking with that same pink shade. I went ahead and jumped down to the lower lash line, and I'm just using a angled flat brush to line the entire lower lash line, kind of coming down at an angle on the inner part, leaving a little space. And then using a stiff kind of flat brush, I'm really just working back and forth underneath that color to kind of blend it out a bit. I didn't add any more color. I'm just blending out that line that I already created. And then with that fluffy brush from earlier, I'm just adding a little bit of color very, very lightly, just to add a bit more of a diffused pink look underneath and blending it in with the outer portion. Then taking the tiniest bit of Teen Spirit, that purple shade, I'm very, very softly adding a little bit of darkness to the outer portion of the eye. And then with that same little tiny brush from earlier, I'm adding the tiniest bit of that purple into the crease. It's just adding almost a shadow, just a slightest little bit of depth, and that's what I want. Then of course I'm cutting the crease. I'm doing a half cut crease here. So I'm just kind of zipping through this. Make sure you tap it out on the outer edge so that it blends nicely into the pink. And then I'm filling it in with the shade Caboodle. So I'm just using my finger at first to place it all over the lid. You know, I like to do that whenever possible because it's just the fastest way to get a shimmer shade down. And then I am taking a little bit of VHS and tapping that right on that outer portion. It just kind of went really nicely with the look, just making sure I blend it over the top of Caboodle and kind of blend the two together. Then I'm just going back in with a flat brush. I did spray this with setting spray so that I can get Caboodle right up to that cut crease line. And then jumping into floppy disk, I'm adding this on that little tiny inner portion of the lid that I kind of left blank. They blend together really nicely. It's just a very subtle difference that you see there. And then with that same floppy disk shade, I'm adding that to that blank space that I left on the lower lash line, just using a little tiny flat brush that I sprayed. I'm also popping that onto the inner corner of the eye for my highlight and just bringing it up a tiny bit. And then because I like a brighter highlight, I am jumping into my Collective Cosmetics, the Thawing highlight, which is the kind of white frosty highlight, and just tapping this over the top. It just gives a little brightness. Then I'm using Boots from ColourPop in the waterline just to tie everything together. And then I'm going to add a winged liner, mascara, and lashes off camera. I'm doing the House of Lashes Iconic Lights. For lips, I'm using Menagerie Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Aptasia. I love this shade, and I love the way it looks with a fun, bright pink eye look. And that's the finished first look. And now moving into look 2. So for this look, I'm starting out with the shade Trolls. Again, I have my lids already primed, so I'm going to start by just stamping that color into the crease area first, just to really lay down a good amount of color before I start blending it. I'm using kind of a fluffier brush, but it is still a small one, so it's got a good density to it. Then once I have that color down, I'm starting to blend it upward onto the brow bone a bit, and as well as out onto that outer portion of the eye and putting a little bit on the lid itself. Then jumping into Tamagotchi, I'm using this on my little tiny detailed brush to add the tiniest bit, just like I did with the purple, just a very light, tiny amount into the crease, just so I add a little bit of that darkness, more like a shadow, like I said earlier. So it kind of turns it a bit more of a deeper, bright green, basically. So just adding a little bit of that through the crease and onto the outer portion of the lid as well. Then jumping back into Trolls, this time I'm using a fluffy brush and I'm just kind of lightly going over the top where I put that blue down very subtly just to make sure it retains that green color. And again, just working on blurring that color out a bit more. And now I'm going to cut the crease. I didn't realize I was doing 2 half cut creases with these looks, but what can I say? I already filmed them. Again, tapping it out on the outer edge, and this time I'm filling it in with the shade Polly Pocket, and I am using a flat brush that I sprayed with setting spray, and I'm packing this across the entire part of the lid where I put the concealer down. Then I jumped into the shade Tiger Beat, and I just used my finger to tap a little bit of this on that outer portion where the kind of coral shade meets the green shade, and I love the way this looks. Then I just went back over the top where the two meet with that Polly Pocket shade just to blend them together. Then into Tiger Beat again, I'm using this as my inner corner highlight. So I did spray this brush with setting spray, and I'm just doing a very small inner corner highlight for what I usually do. Then jumping into Jellies, I'm using this on a flat brush that I did spray with setting spray, and I'm just lining the entire lower lash line with this, keeping it close to the lash line all the way across. Then I'm using a kind of thicker pencil brush into the shade Trolls, and I'm just buffing this underneath that Jellies shade, kind of bringing it down a good bit too. And then with a smaller pencil brush, I'm going back into the shade Jellies, just so I can really blend out that blue shade on the lower lash line so that it blends in better with the green. And then I did go into my Collective Cosmetics highlighting palette, and I'm using the shade Emblazoned, which is the yellow highlight, just to kind of add a little bit more brightness over the top of the Tiger Beat shade that I already put down. This time I'm using Puppy from ColourPop, so I thought it was really fun to tie in that orangey type of tone from the top. And again, I'm doing liner and mascara off camera. This time the liner is just to line the lash line to help with the lashes, and I'm using the Likely Lashes in the style Sleepy Starlet. For lips, I'm just going to go with a simple gloss. This is Moonchild from ColourPop. I just felt like it was a good choice to stick with a lighter lip with this look. And that's the finished second look. I hope you guys enjoyed both of the looks. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to enter the giveaway. See you guys in the next video.